Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back on track with another video about the 3.24 Necropolis teasers. I missed the chance to cover yesterday's teaser because we're doing our podcast with Snoobay and Snap, and as always, Balor Mage was there with me.
Certain mechanics can actually get cold from the map because there's too many things spawning. And I would imagine that if you have some stuff like Alva that can actually take up these aforementioned spawn points, can cause other mechanics that you actually want to no longer spawn.
So I have a theory on that.
Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. It was a great episode. But yeah, the way these teasers, most of them are too short to make a proper video, so covering two is perfect. The way this works is we're gonna first go into today's one because it's so ultra hype, and then I'll cover yesterday's one. Now, I'm sure you know divination cards, but for those of you who don't know, in Path of Exile, divination cards are currency items that can drop on the ground, and for each div card it says how many you need to complete a set, in this case, for example, 8, and then you can hand them in and get the item that is shown here. Now in this case, this is nothing special, but there are divination cards that award items that you can normally only get by killing bosses, and this has been criticized for a long time. Not because of the principle that you could save up for a big drop, but because most of those cards would be coming from random divination card rewards from league mechanics or from stacked decks, which are the biggest culprit of them all. Now, in 3.24 Necropolis, stacked decks and diviner strongboxes do no longer drop divination cards for boss exclusive unique items. This of course will make them far less available, as said in the video.
While this reduces access to those uniques, farming the bosses will now feel more meaningful.
We're all happy to see, most notably Zizaran, who's been advocating for this change for a long time. It's making bosses more valuable and rewarding those who decide they want to farm bosses. I agree with the general sentiment here that I see is it should have always been like that. I personally wonder whether there's still going to be other places in the game where we will be able to get these divination cards. They don't specifically say this in the video. They don't say that they got the div cards shifted into the bosses that drop the actual uniques that the div cards reward, which is what probably most people would think is reasonable. So while it's really hard to judge the impact of this on the economy and how the game will feel in general in 3.24 because we lack the context, it sure is a change that I 100% support because I think this is how the game should be, right? Stacked decks and strongboxes, two of the biggest sources of random divination cards, should not allow you to bypass the requirement of farming a boss to get a specific unique to drop. And a lot of times, specifically in hardcore, certain uniques existed in the market before those bosses were slain for the first time, simply because you could bypass the bosses with divination cards. I think this makes a lot of sense. In the long run, in short term, it will feel like a nerf. In the long run, this is the right way to go for Path of Exile, and I'm super stoked about this change. Let me know what you think about the change in the comments down below, and let's go into the other one from yesterday. This is also super cool, but we're gonna have to quickly watch the video to explain it.
Let's talk about corrupting maps. When you use a Vaal Orb on a map, the map no longer has a chance to become unidentified. Instead, we've created a set of implicits that affect the area in strange and potentially profitable ways. Some are simple, like increasing item quantity or monster pack size. Others might increase the effect of your Atlas tree on the area. You could even roll a mod that removes soul gain prevention from the player, allowing you to absolutely spam Vaal skills in the map. If you're lucky, you could even roll a mod that makes all map device crafts free for that map.
So when you use a Vaal Orb on a map, normally you can either have no effect, it can re-roll the item with random affixes, 4 to 6 affixes, or it can re-roll the map into a rare item with exactly 8 random affixes, retaining the map base, or it can unidentify the item. So all they told us here is that this outcome is no longer possible, and that these new outcomes that have been shown in the video, increased quantity, increased pack size, Atlas passive effect, and no map crafting option cost are now possible in place of this outcome. But what they didn't tell us is like how the chances are. Making maps unID'd was always like super impractical because you had to keep track of which map was which one if you cared about the mods. I mean, unless you were playing a build that could literally steamroll all mods, you kind of wanted to know, and it was just a logistical nightmare. Running an unidentified rare map had bonus quantity larger than the bonus quantity that is now on this implicit, but obviously the implicit is not the only outcome, and it's just way nicer to stash and manage maps and to sell maps when unidentified maps are no longer a thing. And these maps, for example, the soul gain prevention mod will enable certain builds, and certain builds will want to buy maps that have just this implicit modifier in bulk, right? As always, I think these changes are hard to judge in isolation. We really need the patch notes to get the context of all this and how it fits into the larger picture. But overall, it seems to me like they're looking to remove a lot of clunk and nonsense from the game. And we're still like 2 weeks away from the actual release, so there's still going to be plenty of those changes. And I have a feeling that we've only seen the tip of the iceberg so far, that there's actually a lot more in store for us this time. So I'm hyped for the reveal come March 21st. I'll of course be reacting live on stream, so make sure to mark your calendar and to be here in chat. And let me know your takes on these latest reveals and what you would still like to see in the future from Path of Exile 3.24 Necropolis. I'll go work on my videos and I'll see you in the next one.